Well, cowardliness of the terrorists operating in the state of Jammu and Kashmir once again stands exposed. Scared, frightened of facing the security forces themselves, the Hizbul Mujahideen is now attempting to recruit civilians to do their dirty job. A video released by a Hizbul terrorist shows him asking civilians to shoot at soldiers during encounters especially, and then target policemen who are hunting the terrorist cause. He can also be heard and seen asking civilians to attack policemen. Kamaljeet Sandhu joins us for more on this story. Kamaljeet, just tell us a little bit more about this video.
Well, this is obviously an unverified video like many other videos which has appeared on the social media network sites. But specifically speaking about this video itself, it is obviously a dire warning. It's also appealing for the youth to pick up stones. But not just that, it doesn't stop at that. It's also appealing for youth to target security forces at the time of encounter, saying whenever there is a crossfire, they have that opportunity to strike and kill a couple of army personnel. The terrorists are simply saying that there should be an attack and more killings could happen. Perhaps even the security forces wouldn't know where the fire has come from. The other part is obviously about a hit list of Jammu Kashmir police personnel who've been involved in hunting down some of these key militants. This is something which has happened in South Kashmir mostly, where the cops' houses have been ransacked. There have been 3 incidents in the past 1 week. This obviously shows that there is sort of a dire consequence, especially in summer months. The third part of the video is specifically also dealing with how these militants are appealing for these people to actually follow the path of the Hurriyat. So again, these are specifications which have really come in. But remember, this is part of one of the many social media war which is going on. And remember, it is not just militancy on the ground. It's not just about stone pelting. A whole lot of this aspect has moved to social media. Now, we talked to a lot of people on the top level. They're saying there has been a temporary ban as far as social media is concerned, mobile networks is concerned, but this is not a lasting solution. There cannot be a clampdown on information, but much of this, as the DGP in the morning told me, is also to do with how the social media is being used to not only trigger but also gather stone pelters at a location of encounter.
Absolutely. In fact, it's important you made that point, because we're also joined with the Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant. When, Gaurav, I heard the DGP talking about the misuse of social media and how it is being used as a tool to provoke and influence young children to take up arms and to spread violence. And here we have another video of these cowards inciting the youth.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at this video, this terrorist is clearly inciting people, saying, don't pick up stones, fire at security forces, kill security forces, because no bullet has anyone's name. Nobody knows which side is the bullet coming from, whether it's coming from inside a building where terrorists are holed up, or, stone pelters firing at the security forces. Now, that's clear and present danger that security forces have been warning against for almost a year. What is more worrying, Avantika, is the fact that this terrorist is saying we are going to come out with a list of 10 to 12 SHOs, those SHOs who are harming Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist organization's interests. There are a large number of Jammu and Kashmir police personnel who are going after these terrorists and their support bases. Now these terrorists want to target them. While this is a claim, it's actually happening on ground. The Superintendent of Police Operations, his house was targeted, his father was targeted, terrorists fired inside his house. Another Deputy SP's house was targeted. 2 inspectors' houses have already been targeted. And this is where the real danger is. Unless checked, this will have a profound impact on the morale of terror-fighting forces.
Just stay with me, Gaurav and Kamaljeet. In fact, we're going to play the audio now of how this Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist is asking civilians to join in to, create mayhem, to attack policemen. Let's listen into that audio.
खुदारा किसी जगह एनकाउंटर होता तो आप पहले वहां पे जाते हो। अब अगर आप जाते भी हो, अब मेहरबानी एक कीजिए, मैं आपको एक प्लान बताऊंगा आपको करना क्या है। आप जहां भी जाओगे किसी भी एनकाउंटर जगह पे, तो आप वहां पे एक काम कीजिए, 2-4 गोलियां फौजों को भी मार दो। वहीं पे गोलियां तो चलती रहती है ना वहां पे, तो 2-4 गोलियां फौजों को भी मार दो। अब किसको पता कहां से गोली आ गई, अंदर से आ गई कि बाहर से आ गई। गोली पे थोड़ी किसी का नाम लिखा होता है, मार दो गोली, 2-4 इन फौजियों पे, ये भी मरे, कुत्ते को मौत मरे। मेहरबानी करके मैं अबूदुजान भाई से ये अपील करता हूं कि 10-12 SHOs ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने हमारी तहरीक को बहुत बड़ा नुकसान पहुंचाया है। बहुत जल्द मैं उनके नाम पूरे लिस्ट के जरिए पूरा उनका लिस्ट एक बनाऊंगा, पूरा बायोडाटा उनका बताऊंगा और वो फेसबुक पे शेयर करूंगा। अब मेहरबानी करके ग्राउंड लेवल पे उनका काम कीजिए। उनको मारना नहीं है, बस उनके हाथ काटने हैं, पैर काटने हैं, ताकि वो जिंदगी भर याद रखेंगे कि उन्होंने किस कौम के साथ गद्दारी की है। किसी न किसी को तो ये स्टेप उठाना ही है। तो मैं अबूदुजान भाई से अपील करता हूं कि वो ये स्टेप उठाए। ग्राउंड लेवल पे आप ये काम कीजिए, एक ग्रुप बना के ये ग्राउंड लेवल पे ये काम कीजिए। और दूसरा जो सबसे बड़ा जो मैंने इस वीडियो के थ्रू बनाया और बताया है कि वो हथियारों के मामले में अब मेहरबानी।
Gaurav, it's absolutely unbelievable. It's beyond shocking. It's chilling to hear this kind of, words coming in from a terrorist. And then you have these separatists who only stoke and fuel the existing fire.
You're spot on there. We are showing this video only so that the entire country realizes the truth, the real face of stone pelters and separatists, where there is by design they're targeting security forces, by design they're hampering counter-terror operations, and top commanders on ground have told India today that even terrorists like Abu Dujana, twice they had been neutral, they'd been singled out, they had been cornered in one location, but stone pelters arrived. And that's also a story we'll put out on India Today, how WhatsApp messages were sent out that a terrorist is now holed up in one area, the army is closing in, the CRPF and the Jammu Kashmir police are closing in, stop them, create hurdles. And stone pelters came, they started pelting stones at the security forces. Security forces couldn't move forward and the terrorists escaped. Now we have accessed some of those WhatsApp messages and we will put them out so that the truth about stone pelters and those handling them comes out in public domain, and all this charade about there being misguided or disenchanted youth, we can do away with that charade and the truth emerges for all to see.
And Kamaljit, I was listening to your conversation with the DGP earlier on. This is now, not just shocking, it's frightening. It's their security forces' lives at stake. I mean, here these terrorists are openly advocating terror, openly asking and, inciting violence, asking people to come out and attack them. What measures are they planning to take further on in a counter operation?
Well, this obviously fight is only getting more bitter, tougher. But the fact remains, as far as forces are concerned, they are fighting this battle on two domains. One is the handling part of the operation. The other is the law and order part, which is becoming increasingly difficult as the locals are causing hindrance. Now, we know that there have been small measures like counselling being done. Then there have been other aspects where obviously social media has been used very effectively. Now, we have also been told the latest step and the latest trigger by the militants, which is obviously to go ransack and actually threaten the family members of cops are concerned, is the newest and the latest trend. But they're saying, we spoke to some senior sources in security forces, they're saying this could well be an example about how JNK could be heading the Punjab, where militants, when they targeted the families of cops in Punjab, were given a bitter response, and that is when the Punjab militants were really neutralized and eliminated. Can this happen here? But at this point of time, this is a borderline cases. Remember, threats are coming in, but no attack on the family members just yet. And that is where the real concern really lies. The DGP says this is an act of cowardice, that yes, if there are operations, then a bullet will be responded by a bullet.
But we haven't seen that, Gaurav. I mean, we heard the army chief asking for a coordinated effort by security forces to tackle the menace of stone pelting. Is that just enough? Is counselling just enough, or a clampdown on social media?
So, when Afzal Guru was hanged, there was a system that was put in place. Immediately, the entire social media network was shut down. Police physically went, occupied several places where usually terrorist sympathizers, stone pelters, all of them assembled. Police ensured they were already on ground. They ensured that terrorists and their sympathizers did not have the initiative. Unfortunately, that wasn't done when terrorist Burhan Wani was killed. There are several lessons that were learnt earlier, but not put into practice this time. And that's a study at the Ministry of Home Affairs, what was done then and what was not done now. Unfortunately, some of that is still not being done, but that is because the state government wants to wean away these youngsters from the stone and then bring them overboard. So several steps are being taken even there. Some of these youngsters, Avantika, have told security forces that if they don't come out of their homes and pelt stones, then the terrorists and their sympathizers target them and their families. So everyone is compelled to come out of their homes and obstruct military operations or counter-terror operations. So there are many, many layers within layers and wheels within wheels that operate in a very complex situation like Jammu and Kashmir. But ultimately, law and order must prevail. And that is where the army chief issued a very stern warning. If that warning is not followed, because even when you see the encounter that took place yesterday, the army did not open fire. It's the Jammu Kashmir police and the CRPF. They showed tremendous restraint till the end. But then when the mob came too close and when the mob was obstructing military operations, that some measures had to be taken. And that's the time in that crossfire we are told, we saw the casualties that happened. So some of this, the security forces hope. They're reaching out to community elders, religious leaders, politicians, parents. They're reaching out to everyone.
But Gaurav, is that enough? Is that enough? Because after what we heard yesterday in the Operation Stone Pelters, those chilling admissions that actually exposes and nails, these rogue elements who are so open and unapologetic and absolutely, absolutely fine with accepting money and doing as they have been told to do so. I was in fact personally amazed to hear the response of Engineer Rashid and many others who remain in a complete state of denial.
In fact, what is more worrying is that they are trying to make it into a Delhi versus Kashmir story. That, the way Engineer Rashid was telling Rahul Kanwal on the broadcast, will the security forces kill every Kashmiri? It is not a Delhi versus Kashmir story. It is very clearly security forces versus stone pelters backed by Pakistan, given money to target security forces. So it's only against those leaders that operations will be mounted.
Just stay with me, Gaurav. Mr. RSN Singh is also with me right now on the phone line. Good afternoon, Mr. Singh, and thanks so much. How do you respond, first of all, to our sting operation yesterday, where we heard firsthand and we even saw these young boys being lured to spread mayhem and terror, and then this Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist, inciting violence, calling out to the youth to ask them to attack the policemen, and very openly.
First, let me tell you that there is nothing indigenous or spontaneous about the whole affair, the stone pelting affair. This concept has been borrowed from Palestinians, so it is an imported, imported technique or tactics,
yes,
you can say. And they also like to call them, these stone pelting business, some sort of on the lines of the Palestinians. The second issue is that it is not, there is nothing spontaneous about it, because as you have rightly brought out in your sting operation, he has given you the entire, the entire links and framework under which this whole thing is planned, coordinated, orchestrated and executed. Now let me also tell your viewers that it's not that you pick up a stone from anywhere. These stones are of certain weight, certain of certain shape.
Yes.
Picked up carefully or chiseled to cause maximum damage. And
right.
There's a big logistics exercise. Let me tell you. The logistics involved may be greater than getting, 47 ammunition. So for God's sake, don't, nobody should think, that there are pebbles flying all over the countryside and, these people picking up and throwing, in a state of frenzy. It is not that.
No.
Well planned,
absolutely. Very well planned, well orchestrated. And in fact, it seems to be, a job. They're receiving a salary for the same. I also have with me former DGP MM Khajuria, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. Sir, we just played out the audio of that Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist. It was absolutely chilling and frightening to hear what he has to say and what he's asking the youth to do to our security forces. Now, we also spoke to the DGP and, he talked about the evils of social media and how the terrorists are using that to spread terror via, various forms of social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook or WhatsApp.
you see this coming on the social media, they're using social media as a very effective tool of propaganda. Otherwise, the collection of people at the site of encounter, and they're raising slogans and throwing stones and otherwise trying to obstruct the operation.
But it's also giving these terror groups, sir, a platform, isn't it, to engage with their networks?
And we have to take that in this stride.
Right.
What we need to do is to find ways and means of ensuring that people who are the organizers, they are identified quickly and kind of immobilized. And the leadership that is providing the directions, like Mr. Gilani and company, they are removed from the scene, and they disconnect between the leadership and the activists and organizers with the people whom they mobilize or entice or purchase is achieved. Unless we go in an organized manner, and instead of getting a bit panicky about this,
yes,
this situation will remain bad.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it is going from bad to worse. Mr. Khajuria and Mr. Singh, thank you both for joining us. At the same time, while we are telling you about this Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist and the video that he has released on social media, political reactions have also been pouring in from across party lines, seeking a thorough investigation after India Today's big expose on the bitter truth behind the criminal syndicate behind Kashmir's violent stone pelters. It was a painstaking investigation conducted by India Today's reporters where we have exposed the stone pelter syndicate operating in the Kashmir Valley, and our undercover reporters managed to speak to these stone pelters, to in fact hear from them on camera for the first time. They make those open confessions that they are not freedom fighters but are actually hired, and they are actually given a salary, a proper salary, for attacking the security forces, for obstructing the anti-terror operations and for causing mayhem in the state.
I mean, it's a well-planned sort of a diabolical sort of a plan hatched by the ISI to disrupt operations of security forces. I mean, it's only for furthering their terrorist agenda. I mean, it's entirely well planned.
Do you somewhere feel that this matter will be raised in the parliament?
I don't know. It might.
Master.
That we already knew from before, but this matter is being put on notice in the Lok Sabha, so we will have to discuss in Lok Sabha. I can't speak outside.
It merely confirms the fears that many of us have had, that the people we have seen as sort of misguided protesting youth are actually unfortunately serving in effect as paid agents of a hostile force, hostile power from the other side of the border. It's very disappointing. I hope that your investigation will continue to establish who has paid them, and not just that they were paid, because obviously there are anti-national forces at work. Very, very sad to hear this. Obviously, this has it's an effective tactic because it has managed to win the sympathies of a lot of people who think these are just innocent, ordinary folks. But if this is the truth, then there is a real problem.
Well, yes, I was surprised. I saw it on India Today, and it was going on not only yesterday, but I suppose late day before also, in the night, in the evening. It's a very serious matter. The question is that, are we going to just sit and let things pass the way it is? You got to take action. You did you went in there, you did the surgical strikes. You need to do this. If people are there and hooting their forces and showing them ISIS flags and Pakistani flags, then it's treason. They should be shot straight away. So I'm really very saddened to see the sting that had been done by India Today.
Right. So what action should be taken? What are your major demands from the government?
I think you have to take serious measures. It's been going on for a very long time. Something like a surgical strike must take place. And that is what I would request the government to do.